All right, we're back in the garage. It's 1 o'clock again, but this time we're not on a Monday through Friday, which means that we're on a weekend. So part two is back on the GT convertible. We are gonna pull the front suspension out, which we did, and we're gonna pull the K-frame out. But first of all, I got a couple of new parts. So I got a box there, and which is springs, and in the rear I got new bump stops, and in the front, when I take the struts apart, we'll have these new bump stops. So I bought these for all the Mustangs, so it will be new bump stops for the back, new ones for the struts. So let's put these guys in. Okay, they come with bolts, but I honestly don't think I'm going to use the bolts. And I already started prepping this side. So this side, I showed you the old one. So the old one goes right there, just bolts in, and 2 bolts right there. So let's set up the light like right here, so it's easy for us to see. Bump stops really doesn't have a left or a right. It just basically sits like this, and then you bolt it down. And as much as I like the aftermarket bolts, I'm just going to stick with the Ford bolts. And turn my hat around, get a little more room, put one screw in my other hand. So hole is right here. I think this is a T40. So we got one there, and let's put you right here. So you'll see the screw goes in this, and then it goes in there. And honestly, there was not really a lot of, what's the word I want to use, tightness in the bolts, like torque, you know. So I was able to use a 3/8 ratchet, and that's a T40. So let me tighten these up and I'll come back. Okay, so that's it. It's a quick little bump stop. So what we're gonna do is wire the cars apart. We're gonna drop out the shock, and we're gonna put rear springs in it. And I might cut half a coil off of the spring just to give me a little more drop on those drop springs. Because running 40s, I don't want to have any space. I want to have body like the Dodge days. See how the body of the tire are nice and level? I want the same thing. Is it level or, you know, close, whatever. But that's what the example I want to do the same in the Mustang. Because if you look at the, like I'm saying, all right, let's stop wasting time. All right, let's open these guys up. Should be blue. And they are blue, yes. Okay, so the rears look like this. Okay. Now, being that this is smaller here, I can't cut this end, and being that that is small there, I probably shouldn't cut that end either. All right, so I already prepped my left side. Here is the factory spring. Here is the replacement spring. Now, side by side, there's a little bit of a difference. So let's go. So some people are going to be like, oh, you didn't put the 2 angles in the same upness. Okay, so they're both facing up. They're both about the same here, and this is here. So this is a little shorter, but I'm gonna say that this spring will probably compact more. Okay, and in order to do the springs, I just dropped the rear sway bar, so to get it out of the way. Now I'll leave this apart until my shocks come in. So I ended up ordering, if you watched my other video with the California car, I ordered a pair of shocks used, like 60,000 miles on them for half the price of what new ones would. And this guy had a set of factory Motorcraft red shocks, and I ended up buying those to replace these that have been painted, so who knows how old they are. All right, so let's get this spring in the perch. All right, and just manhandling it, I was able to get it back in. So normally I would just put my shock back in, bolt my sway bar back up there, and you would be done. But we're waiting on parts for here, and being that this has a little bit of side-to-side movement, I'm thinking about replacing these, which means taking these bolts off, sliding these guys off, sliding new guys on. Now I have done just the bushings, but it's not worth it. It's too much time and aggravation, so better off to buy the whole thing. All right, so let's get this guy is unbolted, and that's as far as he's going to travel. Let's get the light over here, put some light on this guy. How many times? We'll see how many times the light falls for us today. Okay, so pry bar. Let's see if we do it together. Pry bar, upside down. Can we do it together? Oh, not really. All right, you guys can't help me. Let me switch. All right, I love how this phone just automatically makes the picture go whoop. All right, so here's your spring. This is the top spring perch. It honestly doesn't matter where it goes, even though this one sat here, because it's just a piece of rubber, you know. So that rubber, yeah, it would have been nice to sit like that where it was, sure, but if you had it right here, it honestly wouldn't matter, because it's just an indentation. Don't fall, please. Okay, all right, so let's walk back to the back. Try to hit our head again. And that rubber there and that cap is removable, so it came out when I took the old spring out, so I cleaned the perch up and put it back together. So let's get this spring in. Okay, and just like that, the spring is in. Now when I was talking about this lower section, make sure you put that little middle piece in first, then this rubber piece over it, because it keeps it in there, and then you pop your spring in. So here you see it's a little loose, so that will be our difference in our height, plus spring rate is probably different, so it'll collapse a little more. All right, so we're going to leave the rest of it apart until we get shocks. Okay, and let's get this other bushing in. We're gonna find the bushing now. Where do we put it? All right, let's go find it. All right, so it's in. As you can see, use the factory bolts. There's the one. There's the second one. Now we have a bump stop for if this car ever jumps off a curb or whatever, blah, 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 which I don't ever see myself doing. All right, so let's get this jack stand back in the corner there. And let's get working on getting that K-frame out. Oh, actually, what's the point of putting it away when I got to put it underneath the car for the K-frame? All right, let's work on getting the K-frame out. All right, so as you can see, I did a triangulation. Probably not necessary, to be honest with you, but now my K-frame is free. I got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here. I'm gonna have leave this on. I'm gonna have 2 bolts here, but in the meantime, I am going to unbolt the motor mounts. And if I remember correctly, there's two 13mm bolts. So let's get the motor mounts undone so we can drop this K-frame. Whew. All right, all four of those bolts are out. And that would be the four bottom bolts on the motor mount. So if you're just joining in, this is a motor mount for a Mustang G6 V8. These two bolts hold it onto the K-frame. This one bolt holds it onto the aluminum bracket that bolts to the engine. In the future, take that 15mm bolt up from the top off first. It'll make your life a heck of a lot easier. All right, so now I think that's a 21. Let's see, 21. Nope. Oh, my favorite age, 18. Oh yeah, 18 here, 18 there. All right, so we got 8 bolts left. Well, cameraman's nowhere to be found today, so let me get this K-frame down, and I need you with 2 hands to do that. So the K-frame will be this metal bracket here that goes like that. So it's really an X. I don't know why I call it K. So it could look like a K if you go that way and that way. Anyway, let's get this out. All right. Always got to zoom back in. It's ridiculous. Okay, so as you can see, the K-frame is right there. So I guess they call it a K-frame because there's a straight line here, and there's 2 lines that look like a K if you look like that. Anyway, that's kind of heavy, weighs about 50 pounds. So I would just be careful doing it on your own. So now my goal would be to take out these motor mounts while the K-frame is out of the way, because the bolt is easy to get at. And then when I put the K-frame back in, bolt these back in, and then this way these pins just have to fall in, and then I put those nuts in from the top after I drop the car down. All right, so this pan's got to come out, but in order for this pan to come out, we have to drain the new oil in it. So let's find something to drain the new oil into. That's good enough for 8 quarts. All right, so the old oil is in there, which, you know, we ran only for a few minutes as you saw earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a new set of oil, but when I put this oil back in, I'm going to put some training fluid in the oil, run the oil for 3 or 4 minutes just to break up any dirt in there, because it was kind of dirty. So now stop talking, and what would be our next thing? Next thing to do is get this guy down, and then that will be the moment of truth. And we got to take these guys off. Still feels good. Still feels good after 90,000. 91,000 is when it's due, so it has 88 on it. All right, let's get this pan down, and that's going to be one more part we're going to have to order. Last one I ordered was I think 110 off of the Ford website. Oil pan gasket. All right, so let's get that down. Okay, so these are the bolts. These are the studs. So you got number 1 on the driver's side and the 2 front ones that hold the harness on. The rest of the bolts are just regular 10 millimeters. And this one here gets held into the oil pan gasket. Kind of annoying. Gotta get that out of the way. All right, let's get that out of the way so I can drop the last 13 millimeters. Okay, so finally the wiring harness is disconnected from the oil pan, and I had to re-glue this one with tape, because I got a little impatient with getting this guy out, because these things go into either the side of the pan. I think it's the side of the pan. Yeah, side of the pan. So I'll have to just bend that straight, but no big deal. Let's get these 13 millimeters out so we get this pan down. 13 should be 10, 12, 13. 10, 12. Oh, maybe a 12. 12 is 13, wiggles a little. Nope, 13 is always got a 14. Yes, it's a 13. Okay, pan is out. So here we go. Here is our first sign of sparkles. Look. You see that gray stuff? That is sparkles. You know what sparkles means, right? This is all the new oil. Look at that color in there. That's all sparkles. Sparkles. Got a lot of cleaning to do. Well, that oil is no good no more. So let's look at the bottom of a 5 liter if you never saw one. Okay, let's try to do a good video, unlike cameraman. So here you go. The tray, not the tray, the oil pump pickup has to come off before the oil pan, ow, that's 4 times on that rotor, before the oil pan gasket can come out, because that bolt right there locks it in and that keeps the oil pan gasket in. Could I reuse it? I probably could. I could probably silicone the crap out of it and try that. But then my thing would be, if we had an oil leak, I would have to take it all apart again. Okay. Well, I'm glad we found sparkles there, because that leads me to believe we're heading in the right direction. All right, so let's get the oil pickup tube out. Let's get a rag underneath there for my floor for oil. And let's get this out of the way here so we can see what the main caps look like. All right, pan is down. So pan is down, pan is down. 1, 2, 3. And you can see here, look at it, we got a little sparkles. So I'll have to clean the inside of this really well. And even, nope. But here, does anybody see what I see? Anybody see what I see? Anybody? All right, let me get the light on you. Okay, what do you think? Light color. I gotta look through a phone. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Cameraman's out. Kevin sucks. I know. Oh gosh. Let's try it again. Okay. Normal color. Heat it up. Normal color. Normal color. Normal color. Might be heated up. Normal colors. Oh yeah, look. Look at how hot that is. So we got 2 rod bearings that are bad. So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna pull every cap off and every bearing out, and we're gonna take a quick look. And then we're gonna go from there. And there's the squirters are right there. Squirter right there. Try to see in the hole. Trying to find a piston all the way up top, all the way up top. I guess cylinders look pretty good inside. So, all right, let's pull those 2 caps off and see how wrecked these bearings are. And I gotta get a cameraman back, get him off his boat. 12 millimeter, 12 point to get the bolts loose. Bolts are pretty tight, felt pretty good. Actually, let me put one here. So passenger side, we'll put on the passenger side. Driver's side, I'll put on the driver's side here. And, oh, that's exactly what I don't want to do. Okay, so cap, I'm gonna have to put, where's that bolt? All right, bolt here. All right, good. Driver's side goes on the driver's side. Cap, no line on the driver's side, line on the passenger side. It definitely spun a bearing, because look, there's no bearing here. No bearing whatsoever. Normally there would be a bearing. This is just a cap. Okay. Let's put this cap right here. Let's take the light, put the light on something metal. The block is aluminum, this is aluminum. Sway bar. Okay. This is the bearing. So let's tap up the rod a little. Push the rod up. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So I pushed the rod up just a tad. And now we are going to try to get this bearing removed from the crank. So this was staying still and spinning. I don't know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. All right, 2 hands, Kevin. All right, so my bearing is out. You can see, look how, see how it's spread out here like this? So a normal bearing would have a normal thickness, right? This one here, you can see it's spread out here. It's like wider and flatter. And also the tabs at the back, see the tabs here? There's one tab there. So if you look at the cap, my cap here has tabs. Your bearing would sit in a tab, lock it into your cap on both sides of your rod and your cap. So this is the top of it. This is the bottom of it. This is the line side. It's got a line is the passenger side. The one without a line is the driver's side. And looking at our crank is, I'm going to polish that. I am going to polish you. I am going to polish you, and I'm going to put you. Let's look at the inside of the connector rod. See the inside of the connector rod there? Sorry for the camera. Oh, here we go. So the inside of the connector rod don't look that bad. We'll polish these guys up real quick. Oh, God. Whoa, yo. Okay. So we'll polish the inside of the 2 things here and get them back together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cap back on, and I am going to rotate the engine to get, oh, actually, this guy is, no, I'm going to put the cap back on, and I'm going to rotate it down so I get this one down to a lower spot so we get this other bad one off. All right, so I'm going to say these 2 here are bad. First, second, third row. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one in the 3rd row and the 6th one in the 3rd row. So let's take those mains off. I mean those rods off. Okay, so this would be driver's side bolt. And then if you look at it, there's no line on this side. It's probably on the other side. Okay, let's grab that bolt. Let's grab that cap. Okay, cap. I'm gonna put the bolt back in the cap. Let's put the cap on the towel for the time being. And again, there's no bearing in the cap, which means that this one, oh, this one is worse. Oh. Oh yeah, look. Okay, so let's push up this piston. Oh yeah. Okay, good. And now let's get this off. Got to go back and get a little screwdriver. Little screwdriver here. Okay. So I probably should get a label and label these guys so I know which is which. Aha. Okay, that's the bottom one. Let's spin this guy around. Sound is good. Sounds like good metal. This was the bottom one. This was the top one. And here you go. Look, see how we got that groove there? That doesn't belong there. Same with here. Okay. So, this thing spun bearings. Oh my goodness. This crank might have survived. Might have survived. I will survive. Okay, let's take off this one now. I should really put that cap back on. Let's put this cap back on. Pull the piston down into the bore. Am I worried about scratching the crank? At this point, no, not at all. Okay. All right, so. I'm gonna order 8 bearings, change all the bearings. So this would be the front one. This would be the first one on the middle one. But you can see, look at the consistency here. You see that shininess right there? Same as that. See how it's got that shininess right there? So they both did very similar things. So let's put this cap back in here. Okay. Are we gonna tighten it up, snork it down, blah blah blah? No, we're not. We're just letting this sit in here until I get it all apart and see how many bearings. We're gonna need all 8 bearings. That's what it's gonna come down to. I should have just did one rung at a time, but I thought we were gonna get away with less than 8. Okay, this is passenger side, on the passenger side of the car, and then this is driver side. And again, ooh, hold on. This one doesn't have a bearing. Let me see, my eyes are deceiving me. Nope, this does not have a bearing. Okay, so this one did the same thing. I mean, that the connecting rod feels good. No grooves in it, no real gouges. Let's push up the piston into the bore a little. Okay, and then as you can see right there, the line. So that means there's the bearings, and we put the screwdriver over here. And then you can see, look at this little space right here. See this little space and this little space? Let me get this guy up a little. Come on, little piston, shoot up to your hole. Get in your hole. All right, good. Now, well, as long as these guys aren't frozen. Really? You gotta go that far? Well, why don't you just go underneath the orange car, become friends with him? Okay, so this is our bottom one. And let's get this top one. And stuck on a little bit. Oh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. I gotta work this one out. Hold on. All right, it's out. So this is the third set. And this guy, because of these lines here, was stuck on the crank. So let's go look at that side of the crank. We got the light going on. I don't feel like deep grooves. I mean, I think we'd be okay with a polish. Oh, sorry. All right, so you can see it's damaged. But guess what? We are going to put it back together, and we are going to put bearings in it, and we're going to see what happens. All right, let's pull all these bearings out just because we're going to replace them anyway, right? Let's just check them out. All right, I'm back on the last main rod cap. Now, every one of these bearings are wiped out. If you look at them, they all like this. This is first journal, the second rod from the front. And then you can see it now. This is the only position on the crank that you could actually see this. You see this mark on the crank? So this one here, I will have to polish good and sand that good because that is bearing material on the crank. Every other crank journal was perfect. So I think we can polish all of the bearing journals, all of these journals here, these surfaces can get polished with sandpaper. You know, you use oil and you use a sandpaper and you polish it to bring it back to OEM spec. And same with this. Clean these up with, you know, 1,000 or 2,000 grit paper. I don't know what they use. I don't want to do it without doing some research first. So let's put these bearings in the bearing pile. So if you look right here, this is the engine laid out. Okay, this is the first two cylinders. This is the second two cylinders. This is the third set of cylinders. This is the fourth set of cylinders. If you look at this one here, look how wasted that is. But looking at the journal of the crank, the journal wasn't damaged. This is probably what was making the most noise. Okay, so let's get that cap back on, and let's pull the middle. Oh, actually, I have to pull bolts out of the side, right? One side here, one side here. Ooh. Oh, the main's destroyed as well. All right, let's start with this one. Let's see if I could get this side easily. Let's see if I can get that side. I'll be back. All right, cap number 1, number 2 is out. I don't see any discoloration. And is there a way to pop that cap out? I don't know. Yuck. Ugh. Let's see if we get this cap out. Thank you, Mr. Light. This job just went from 8 to 16. Here we go, main cap. Look at that bearing. We need main cap bearings too. We need bearings on all of them. Oh, I was hoping to avoid that. But crank looks good. Crank looks good. Am I gonna be able to swap out? Am I gonna be able to swap out bearings with this thing in the car? Loosen all the caps. Put a little pressure on the timing setup. The hardest part is getting these side bolts out. This side is good. Right here, look. These guys, driver's side, good, not a problem. Passenger side, okay, we got one behind the starter, one underneath the starter. That one I got off, this one in the front there. So, pull out the starter to get those two. Pull out this bracket here to get the one behind the bracket. All right. And this far. Well, Captain, we've never brought the spaceship to this far in the galaxy. What are we gonna do? Well, we're in the Coyote world now. We'll have to go to the next part of the level. Oh, my goodness. Look at that bearing. Oh my God. God, I've never seen that. I've never seen a bearing destroyed that bad and still run quiet once it starts up. Is that crazy? Slight knocking noises? Jeez. All right. Well, one cap there, one cap there, one cap there, one cap there. And then if I could push that, let me try pushing that bearing through and see if I could do that. Because if you look at the crank, I really should pull this motor, pull the crank out, have it polished, and put it back in. But sometimes you just want to try something different. And that's where we are today. All right, let me get back going. All right, we're closing up. So let's just do a recap and part 2 here. Okay, I've took out 1, 2. Oh, look at that. That bearing spun when I spun the crank. Great. I'm going to take that one out. 3, 4. Can't get at that one because the rear main seal cover is affecting these bolts right there. You see how it... So I'm going to grind those down tomorrow. But for now, let's just stop right here. So here's my caps. Let's recap. It's the first cap, front of the motor. You can see it's pretty bad. Next one, wasted. Look at that. Look how wasted that one is. The next one, which is the one that I think turned a little better. And then the next one, you can see that. A lot of dry. So someone ran this motor dry. That's why. That's what it comes down to. Lack of oil, ruining the crank bearings and rod bearings. And this is the first piston. Not the first piston, but the first 2 holes on the crank. This is the second one. This is the second set of holes, third set of holes, and 4th set of holes. This one is the worst. Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable, huh? And then this is the last one. All right, so we're going to need crank and bearings, polish the crank. And I'm going to try to get that one out before I finish up. And then that's it for today. So that's part 2. We definitely know we need bearings. And I think the crank is savable. So, all right, thanks for hanging out. 5 hours, huh? That's surprising on a Saturday. Car's gonna stay like this until we are back. So have to order some parts, got some downtime, and probably see you next week.